Okay, so first of all we need to go to the Application Administration console. So I'm sure you'll be familiar with this already. We're going to look at the operational categories, which is what we're currently using to link this in. You don't have to use these. You can use pretty much any combination of fields on your request. But for this particular one, we've got a particular CTI, if you like, called Request Software Upgrade that I want to use to link to my work order. So if I just edit this operational category, we have a field in here which we've provided, which is called the process name, and this gives me a list of all the Abydos live processes that we currently have. So here's the software upgrade one we just created, and we want to use the Abydos wizard just to set that to yes, save that, and then just close that entry down. So that's all I need to do to just to link that process into a particular operational categorization. Okay, so let's just go back to our home page. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to raise a completely new service request. So if I take on the role now of the customer raising a new service request, I'm going to go to the request entry link. So I'm sure you've been through this before if you've seen SRM. This is the standard SRM 7.6 out of the box. We have a previous service request definition set up called hardware software request. So I'm just going to select that. Request now. And this should take me into the details for this particular service request. There we go. Okay, so we're going to choose software as our option. And I'm just going to put in something in here, some kind of software that we want to upgrade. I'm just going to submit that. So up until this point, we're just using standard SRM. But when we submit this request now, we're kicking off our first process, if you remember, the hardware software process, which reads the response for software, and then we'll go off and create a work order for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go off and look at the work order console. And just refresh that. Okay, and you can see we have a new work order here called software request. I'm just going to open that up. Okay, so first of all, if we look at this request, we can see it's been created with this particular categorization. So again, this was created from the top level process. And as a user, I can see I've got a bunch of tasks that have been created. Now, because I'm not that familiar with this process, I'm going to use the Abydos wizard, which we have here, to take me through the steps that I need to complete. Okay, so first of all, we can see we get the first step, which is type of software required. I know it's going to be, let's just choose Abydos Windows 7 as a software type. Just click on next and to get to the next step. And this one is the upgrade covered by the support contract. If you remember, this is our decision point from the process, so we can choose either yes or no. So let's choose no. And this should take us on to the approval step. Okay, so at this point here, I happen to be the approver, which is great, so I can go ahead and approve this, but I do want to just check with my manager first. So I'm just going to quit from the wizard for a moment. I'll go off to check with my manager, and then maybe come back in a couple of hours, reopen the ticket. Let's just go back into the wizard, and we should pick up from where we left off. And we just want to see what the remaining steps are here. Okay, so we're on the approval step, so I'm going to approve this. Here's the two options we had from the process, approved or rejected. And finally go through to the last step, I think is to install software. think my server's getting busy. Okay, well, let's just jump back to the designer now, because the next thing we want to show you is how easy it is to make changes to these processes. So let me just leave that running for a moment. And we're going to go back to Abydos Designer. And we now have a request from the business to make a change to this process. Obviously, we've seen that being implemented and run through initially, but if we just go back to the hardware software process right here, we can see that there's potentially a bit of a gap after the change request. Nothing really happens. So what I'd like to do is to service this request for the business and put another step in here to actually send a notification to the change manager. So how do I do that? First of all, because this process is currently live, I can't change it. So I need to take a copy of the live process. Then I need to work on the copy. So if I just right-click on the process name here, I just choose to create test copy. Okay, that creates a new version for me. So we've still got the live version still sitting there quite happily. We're just going to now go into the test mode and look at service request version 59. So I just close down 58 and open 59. Because it's in test now, I can now make changes to this process very easily. So what I need to do is just click on the new task, drag it onto the diagram, and put in the new task name. So I'm just going to call this notify change manager. Okay. And in order to action that, I need to put in a notification action. So I'm just going to drop that onto the diagram, drop that onto the task, and I'm just going to put in here some text. Just some sample text. I can also add, if I want to, any field values that I may have collected on the way. So any of the information, we've got all the standard fields in here from the request, or I can just put in the request ID, and that will store that against the identification and include that in the message that goes out. So I can choose who to send it to. I just choose a defined individual, like so, and then just OK to that. And now it needs to link this into the process, just to use the drag and drop once more. To link that into the process, just by dragging and dropping, it will create the corresponding relationships for me. And then when I've finished, I'll just right-click, update process. Creates the next version for me. And now I just need to put this back into live again. Promote to live. There's already a process called hardware or software at status live. Do you wish to replace it? Yes. So the old one is now set to archived and the new one set to live. So I have that process still on the system. I can always recover any time if I want to go back to a previous version. You can see my archived version sitting in here quite happily. Okay, so that's now done. That's my change put in place. And now let's just see how that works. So we'll just go back into remedy. That's the last step of the last process. It's now finished. Okay, so we'll go back to the home page, and let's just go in and just create a brand new service request.